Arkane is one of my favorite developers in this industry. The Dishonored games were just the stealth. I love them. I love the story along with it. And then there came Prey. Prey, I think, is one of the most underrated games of all time. Feels like you only see praise on social media, but it just has never translated to actual sales. But Prey is just, it's extremely underrated. One of those games that you just have to play. Deathloop, that was more recent, and that's where I started to get a little concerned about Arkane, their direction. Not like huge, I still felt that Arkane vibe with the game, but there was certain things about it that were off. And now we have Redfall. We've seen some gameplay of it the last couple of months. I believe it was announced last year, and my impressions have always been very mixed on it. The way I felt about Deathloop, which is kind of disappointing and kind of concerning with Arkane. I don't know what's exactly going on with them, if they have some turnover or some issues, but I'm hoping for the best with Redfall. That has been my expectation for a while now. We've seen some announcements, some encouraging ones. Like originally it was going to be that there was not going to be an offline mode. That was something I blasted on my Twitter account. I thought it was a horrible idea. And recently, I believe one of the Arkane studio heads said that they were looking into actually making an offline mode. That's great. And then I heard that Arkane is comparing Redfall to like Far Cry meets Borderlands and stuff like that. That sounds great to me. We also saw some gameplay. It was controlled gameplay from Arkane. We also saw, I believe, some previews from different YouTubers. I think I watched some from Jack Frags. It looks like a solid shooter. It doesn't look like it's going to be a game that everybody's going to love. Looks like it's a decent, just enjoy some time shooting down some vampires. That's kind of all I'm expecting out of Redfall. Just some very lukewarm expectations. Bethesda and Arkane are doing themselves no favors with the treatment that they're giving this game in the press, because IGN recently did their little press tour of Redfall. See, IGN has their first series in which they get some coverage. I'm not sure if they're paid or whatever it is, but they get to experience the game first. They play a couple of hours, they upload some gameplay to give us a bit of insight on it. Now, unfortunately, as you can see right here, I have this video up. This was some of the new gameplay they showed off of a major boss. This is what IGN's description of this video says. Get a first look at one of Redfall's tougher vampire enemy variants, the Rook. Summoned a barrage of red lightning, Redfall's Rook is sure to give you and your team a rough time though your efforts will be generously rewarded with some sweet, sweet loot. So, the problem with this gameplay, well, you can kind of see it right now. It's being torn to shreds. 13,000 dislikes. A lot of people just absolutely losing interest in this game because of this gameplay. It's been all over social media. This is how I first heard about it. Tom Henderson was talking about how I just don't know how a game developer could work with IGN after something like this, and it's kind of my impression of it too. But if you haven't seen the footage, here it is. We're going to go briefly over it. I'm going to talk about it. We'll pause it a little bit, but it's 3 minutes of agonizing pain watching this person play the game. It just... I'll let you see. I don't know why they have these constant jump cuts, too, of just random, gunfire into this enemy. It looks like a bullet sponge based on this gameplay. It does not look enjoyable at all. And the individual who's playing this doesn't appear to know how to play an FPS. Kind of an issue. I don't know who IGN is having do coverage for these games, but you'd probably want somebody who's experienced with shooters. Not something that's very difficult to come by, but this is a moment where I was just puzzled, is this a 5-year-old's decision making? It's not on Cuphead, Dean Takahashi levels, but what's going on here? He just forgets to kill that enemy and then just moves on and then runs away while his teammate is being killed. It's decision making like this which earns IGN their reputation among gamers, and people mock gamers, whatever, blah 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 blah. But in some of these situations, I think they're pretty on point with some of these takes. And we'll pause for a second because it continues with this Jesus Christ gameplay. Gotta give IGN credit for making any game they play excruciating to watch. Honestly, the fact that IGN chose to show this gameplay perspective instead of anyone else's genuinely makes me wonder how they did, well, they all did compared to this guy. When you give your little brother the controller, at this rate, IGN would be best off not only having AI write the reviews, but also having it play the damn games for them too. Classic IGN gameplay, like I said, just kind of reinforces a lot of perspectives that people have about games journalism, and yeah, modern day games journalists at their finest. I'd expect no further. And then, yeah, some people pointing out moments, 208 shooting 8 shots and missing 7 when the boss is lightly jogging in a straight line. Oh, we're not even there yet, so let's keep it going. It's excruciating, but like I said, I don't know how you have a game developer like Arkane or Bethesda. Bethesda is the publisher, they're doing the marketing for this. How do they look at something like this and allow it to happen? Because indeed, on social media, a lot of people are using this as ammunition to take shots at Xbox and Bethesda, as this is technically an exclusive. Yeah, and this individual, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get who's signing this stuff off, but not a good look. Especially because this is the first half of the year, their big first-party exclusive. And right now, this gameplay just doesn't inspire much hope, especially in this big boss fight, which looks boring, generic, uninspired, and this person doesn't know how to do basic shooting. Oh my. Yeah, I think this is where they missed like 8 times. I'm not sure. Their accuracy could use some work. Like, you're supposed to be making this gameplay look fun, you know? This boss fight's supposed to be a highlight of the experience, but it looks nothing like that. Like, these animations just don't do it for me. I love Arkane. They've made some great narrative experiences, but... Okay, yeah, and this is, I think, the final bit of this combat encounter. You get a, looks like a legendary weapon, so it's like any of these looter shooters. I guess more Borderlands and Far Cry, supposedly. Yeah, you have your typical menus and such, and yeah, this is the gameplay. It's a lot of talked about to death on social media. I'm just going to go through Redfall, IGN, and like I said, a lot of PlayStation people using this as ammunition. A new Redfall gameplay from IGN has under 800 likes, but has 4,000 dislikes. Aside from the terrible gameplay due to the person playing, many in the comments saying this doesn't look like a $70 game, but it does look like something you'd expect on Xbox Game Pass, and that's the sentiment. A lot of PlayStation gamers saying, well, it's your exclusive, and they're not disappointed they're missing out on this. And right now, I think this releases in a couple of weeks, and it does not inspire... I just don't expect it to have very good reviews. This looks like a mid-70s game, and that's not necessarily bad. It just doesn't look like a game I really want to go out of my way to play. And I'm not going to compare this to Saints Row or Gotham Knights, but definitely this is something that I want to talk about in the future in a video. Xbox and Bethesda's... more so Xbox, just they have not been able to have these high-quality exclusives that aren't racing games, I guess, or flying. They really need to up the ante, and hopefully they'll do that with Starfield, but right now, Redfall doesn't look like it. But my thoughts on the Redfall IGN preview drama, if you're handled, yeah, that's kind of my point about it. And that's why I think this is what I'm expecting. This will be a solid 7 out of 10 game, good time, just not a Game of the Year tier title. Although I'm kind of fearful it could land in the 60s. We'll see. But we have seen some other individuals like Colt Eastwood. He put up some gameplay, like he did a better job at doing a montage of this. But again, I don't think you can really save this gameplay from what IGN did in this coverage. And I think most normies, most individuals who see this, they're probably going to be like, yeah, this looks boring and tedious, but hey, what do I know? It is something that is available on Game Pass, which is still a great deal, at least right now, until the price goes up inevitably. But yeah, Bethesda, Xbox, hopefully they're saving something huge with Starfield later this year, because right now Redfall doesn't appear to be it, and this IGN gameplay just has done no favors for them. And there's a reason why everybody on the internet is roasting it. And then yes, of course, we're seeing the console wars that always happen. People having arguments saying, oh, this just shows Xbox's problems, PlayStation better. I don't care for any of that nonsense. But anyway, what do you make of IGN's Redfall gameplay? It certainly was a treat, something that can be compared to Dean Takahashi and Cuphead. Maybe not so much, but to a degree. And again, it just reinforces how a lot of people feel about games journalism and how a lot of these individuals aren't very good at the coverage they're doing. And for a company like IGN, who probably employs, well over 100 people, you would expect them to have somebody who is good with FPSs jump in and, do some coverage on this, instead of this individual who clearly, I want to say that they're not very experienced, but some of these decisions were also just illogical. Like, I don't know how a grown-up does that, but anyway, what do you make of this? Let me know down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value, and I shall see you later.